Good morning from lovely, mild Brisbane here in Australia. Today, I want to talk about something really beautiful that I experienced fairly recently, and I feel like it would be a really good, real life example of how we can put really powerful deconditioning and human design together. So I'm going to tell you a story. And while somebody jumps into the chat and tells me that they can see and hear me, if we haven't met before, I am Carolyn Southwell. I have been playing with human design for more than a decade, playing with tapping as a deconditioning tool for more than a decade, and slowly working out how to weave them together really effectively in a safer, gentler, more deeply transformative way than most of what I've seen online. Thank you for letting me know you can see and hear me. So in this video, I'm talking about letting love in. And this video is going to be helpful for you whether you have a way to decondition yet or not, or you just need some motivation to use the deconditioning tool that you have. You know you want to live true to your design, and you know that you're struggling to let love in. Now, I want to be clear on what I mean by love. This could mean romantic love from a partner, whether it's that you want to improve the nature of your current relationship, or you want to let love in from a new partner that is maybe a healthier relationship than you've had in the past, or just your first really good relationship ever. But love can mean a lot of things. It can mean letting in love from friends. Maybe you want to improve the quality of your friendships. It can mean letting love in from clients or customers that you want to let in higher quality clients that feel really good, that are a really good match for your human design. Now, as a projector, letting love in means letting people come to me who recognize and value me and who I can do really fantastic work with. So I had a little meltdown a little while ago, and I need to explain this because we have been conditioned to think that when we do healing work, there's some kind of destination. I'll just heal this thing and I'll be all done. Or I'll just do some tapping and I'll do, in the tapping world, it's very common for practitioners to sell a series of sessions and go 5 sessions or 10 sessions. And there's this sort of conception, this sort of idea that that means you'll be done. And what I have found is that actually this is more, I want to use the analogy of like weightlifting. You might start out with baby weights and you might get stronger. And then you might choose to stop at that level and go, I'm strong enough. That is enough for me. And you might be somebody who, like me, goes, okay, great, I lifted the baby weights. Now can I lift a bit stronger again? And can I lift a bit stronger again? So what happens is this is like a spiral that you get to choose. And it's beautiful because it's like a downward spiral at the same time as it's an upward spiral. So as I have been willing to work with more and more of my shadow, more of my sadness, more of my grief, more of my powerlessness, and spiral down into those shadowy places, which is correct for my design. It might not be correct for you to go that deep, but it is for me. What has happened is it's allowed me to also simultaneously spiral up into greater levels of joy and happiness and love, right? So this is an example of how I was working at both sort of ends of the spectrum at the same time. So I had managed to unlock another part of me that was having a total meltdown. And that part of me was like, am I any good at anything? Do I even know what I'm doing? What am I even good at? Now, this can be a bit of a trap as a projector, because projectors, sometimes we don't see ourselves at all. Sometimes we need somebody else to see us. So on that particular day, I was like, how am I going to solve this problem? I am completely clueless as to what I'm good at, and I'm having a meltdown. So I texted 4 of my close friends who I trusted with that level of vulnerability that I was experiencing in that moment. And I said, help, I'm having a meltdown. And I almost never text friends like this. It's very rare. But that felt like the most useful way for me to work with this at the time. And I said, I have no clue what I'm good at. I feel like I'm not good at anything. Can you please remind me what I'm good at?" And it was so beautiful to experience some of the kind words, but there are a couple of friends in particular who texted me back with things that I felt in my body. I was like, holy crap. Like what? How like what? I can't even receive that much love. And so I want to read one of them to you. This was somebody who had sent it as a voice memo. And she'd sent a very, very long series of voice memos, but this is the only one that feels like appropriate to share. So she said, "You need to be told some of the things that you're brilliant at. I can very much do that. You have a capacity to dive really fucking deeply into a topic that's messy and pull strings of it together to craft a cohesive, understandable version that is then able to be used practically by yourself and other people." Now, if you're watching this, you might be like, "Well, duh, Carolyn." But for me, when I was receiving this, I'm like, what? What? It's like somebody had just told me like I was so good that I should have won the Nobel Prize. I was like, it was so full on to receive that much love. So as I tell this story, I'm going to see if we can keep anchoring you back to the point here about receiving love. It was so incredible to be seen so deeply and go, holy crap, how does this feel in my body? So she went on to say, "That's a weird place for me to start, I guess, but it's a really fucking difficult thing for most people to do, and you seem to do it really easily and well. And from what I can see, you do it really well. It's like distilling the essence of things, and there's hardly any people who can do that. It's a magical kind of brain that you have that can do that. That seems to be able to do that." And as I received this amount of love from her, and there was sort of 5 different things that she said that were like that deep, I noticed in my body how damn uncomfortable it felt to receive that much love. And this is where tapping can be so incredible, because not only can you work with the sadness or the joy, or the sadness or the grief or the resentment or the powerlessness and all of that stuff, you will find that as you grow, you will have things go well. You will have people say kind things. You will have people be grateful. And if that is not within your sort of comfort zone, if we just use that simple term, if your nervous system is not used to receiving that much love, it's going to be really fucking uncomfortable. So you can use tapping, as I did, to be with how uncomfortable that feels. Because if you want to let in more love, then you need to make it feel safe for you to let in more love. And after I finish these, I want to give you 3 parts to this story, and then I want to tie it back to human design. I'm going to give you an example for me as a projector, but then I also want to relate it briefly to each of the human design types so you can see how it might relate to you. So what was really interesting is I cleared out that layer of as much, I let in as much of that love as I could using tapping, using my deconditioning tools and my understanding of the nervous system. Weird things started to happen. I noticed that I was able to receive more love from my partner, things he's been doing the whole time anyway. And also, his behavior started to change. So then he was even more loving to me, or in my perception, I was like, wow, now I'm feeling even more connected to my partner. Okay. So that was part 2. By clearing out that layer, I then got to have an even deeper relationship with my partner. And then something even weirder happened. As I got used to that level of letting love in, I then attracted different sorts of clients. And I remember having an experience with a client where that during their call, they were just they said so many kind things to me. They were so grateful for my work. And I just couldn't believe that this person who had paid me all this money for a session was using some of their time where they're paying me to also then, so letting love in the form of money, but then also them saying, Thank you so much for all these videos. Thank you so much for all the content you create. Thank you so much for this session. It was amazing. And I got off that call, and as the recording process, so I could send it out to the client, I fell to the floor and I sobbed. And what I could feel in this discomfort was that the love that she had sent to me was breaking up the wall around my heart. And the fact that I can actually tell you this without crying again goes to show how well I integrated that experience, how well I used the deconditioning tools that I have to actually let that love in, and for that now to feel safer. And then with the next client, when they said all these kind things, I was able to integrate that without having a whole bawling session after the call had finished, right? So this is the beauty of what we can do when we have a safe, deep, effective deconditioning tool. And it works on all the ugly, shadowy, scary, awful emotions. And it also works awful, like they're bad. And then it also works on all, like, feeling happy, feeling relaxed, feeling grateful, feeling joyful, all of those higher feeling, more positive feeling emotions. And anywhere where we feel a block in our body to experiencing the fullness of whatever we need to feel is getting in the way of us living our design. And that's why I thought I would share this really personal story with you, because it is such a good example of how to work the work. Now, you have to know how the work works, and I'll talk about that at the end of this video if you know that you want to come and play with me and learn how to do this. But before we do that, let's talk about how to relate this to human design, because primarily that's what this channel is about. And the whole reason that I got into tapping in the first place was because I couldn't live according to my human design, and it was driving me bonkers. And I'm like, how do I do this? Right? So first up, my example as a projector. Projectors are designed to be recognized and valued by other people. But can you see how if you're a projector and you have this big wall around your heart that your precious self created in order to protect you from harm, what you had in the past may not be serving you anymore. And that if you have a wall around your heart, it's going to stop you from receiving recognition. It's going to stop you from receiving love. It's going to stop you from receiving money. It's going to stop you from having successful interactions with clients and customers. It's going to stop you from letting in love from friends, right? So, like, working with that is directly going to unlock your ability, like I had with these as an example with these clients, of like having different sorts of clients who could like heap love on me, and they were so sincere and so genuine in wanting to say thank you to me. And my job was to be in a state of receivership so I could receive that love from them. And it's really important because people, I know when I think about the mentors and teachers that I've had and that I currently have, how much I would want to go up to them and give them a massive fucking hug and say, thank you for changing my life. And it's important for us, if you are a coach or a consultant or a therapist or a healer of any type, if you're doing powerful transformative work with people, it's so important that you are able to let their love in, because you will actually stop yourself from being able to do the amount of powerful work that you could do if you don't let people's love in, because they need to be able to express that, right? We need that constant, I'm seeing this infinity symbol, constant flow of give and receive and give and receive. Okay, you're giving this transformative, incredible work to people through your presence, through your skills, through your knowledge, and you need to be able to let them receive it. And then as they've received it, they want to be able to give love back to you. And that will often extend well beyond money. Okay, so let's do some other couple of examples. If you were to have a shield around your heart as a manifester, then that might stop you from being able to have the impact that you want to have on people, because the catalyst type, a catalytic, I don't know that that's the right word, but there's a powerful impact that you can have on people, and that has the potential to be a catalyst for incredible change for them. And that feels so incredible for manifestors to be able to see, oh my gosh, look at the impact I had on this person. And for the other person who you have impacted to be able to come back to you and go, oh my God, thank you so much. You changed my life. Right? So that is what it can look like as a manifestor. Like, you need to be able to feel safe to stand in your power, have that impact, but then also receive back the gratitude from people for the impact that you've had. Let's look at another example. Let's jump to reflectors because we often leave them last. So let's pull them up to the front. So as a reflector, you're designed to be the center of a community. Can you imagine if you are literally sitting in the middle of a circle of people and you're doing an incredible job of reflecting back to them how they're doing, and they're open and ready to transform? How much love you might receive back by being in the center of that community of conscious people who are ready to grow and change. That's an incredible amount of love you might be ready to receive, but not if you've got a block around your heart. So letting that one go. Let's do generators and manifesting generators, and then we're going to talk about how we can do deconditioning together. So, and if you're finding this video helpful, do give it a like, because that is going to help other people to find this video. So, manifesting generators. You guys are big, bold, powerful creatures. But I have stories for days about how many manifesting generators I've seen who are trying to box all that light up into a tiny little box. Right? Because the bigness of you when you were little was shut down by parents who didn't know what to do with you, who didn't have the capacity to deal with the bigness of you. And so it is so easy to see so many manifesting generators with a shield around their heart. And it is time to gently dismantle that, because we want you to be a lighthouse in the world. We want you to be this big, bright, shining beacon that helps the rest of us see what's possible. When you go and put your energy into all of these different things that light you up, I want you to know that, this is true for generators as well, but when you are using your sacral energy, your life force energy to do something you love, for the rest of us non-sacrals, so the reflectors, projectors, and manifestors, so 30-ish% of the population, we are literally eating your sacral energy. So when you do stuff that lights you up, that feels so fucking good, you are helping the rest of us be healthy. You are helping the rest of the planet become healthier. But can you see how if you doing all this stuff that feels so joyful doesn't feel safe because your heart doesn't feel safe to feel that happy, how that could be a problem? The reason that we would want to use tapping, if we tie it back to this idea of letting love in, if you're being this lighthouse, powerhouse in the world, and then you have this really positive impact on people, they're going to want to thank you. They're going to want to heap you in love and awards and accolades and praise and money and all the things, right? So using a deconditioning tool to be able to slowly pull apart that wall around your heart so you can be the powerhouse that you're here to be. Generators, and then we're almost done. So when I think about generators, I think about this and I think about healthy generators. I think about this really slow, steady, gentle, reliable hum of their sacral. There is such an incredible difference when I think about the generators that I know, and you can see me tracking my eyes. I'm looking at different generators that I know well. The generators that are really good at letting love in versus the way that generators who are not good at letting love in operate. And there is this quality to their sacral energy. I want to use two very specific examples that I can think of. I have one friend who has been working with me on human design stuff for about 7 or 8 years now. And she's very, very good at working with her strategy and her inner authority, and she does everything in response. She's so joyful, she's so fun, and she's so good at letting my love in for the way that she has impacted me. There is very little going on around her heart that is blocking her from being able to let love come to her in multiple formats. When I think about another generator that I know really well, who I've known for a long time, who refuses to look at human design and thinks it's all rubbish, but who is also doing the best that she can, she has this big protective wall around her heart. And it means that she lives in this really low vibrational state where she can't have anywhere near the amount of impact through her work that she would like to have. Right? So this wall is stopping her from being able to not only express the amount of love she would like, but also receive the amount of love she would like. So let's talk about how we can do some deconditioning work together. In just under a week, I'm going to run the first group class. So if you're watching this replay or you're on live, you can jump on the email list now. It is in the video description, and that is where I'm going to share the dates for the next deconditioning class. So I'm calling it a trauma-informed tapping class. If you haven't watched any of my other videos on trauma-informed tapping, you don't know what it is, you can just search on the channel trauma-informed tapping, or even just tapping, and you'll find the playlist, but I'll put it up here so that then you can see what I'm talking about there. But trauma-informed tapping is the body of work that I have spent the last 10 years slowly, carefully developing through lots of learning, formal and informal, and lots of experimentation. And as you can see, lots of diving into my own shadow. And it's the curriculum that I have been teaching clients one-on-one for the last year that I'm now sharing in group classes. So at the moment, the email list is the only place that you'll find the links and the details for that. Otherwise, if you're like, Carolyn, I prefer to learn in private, or you look at the time that the group class is on and you're like, that time doesn't work for me, in the video description, there is also a link for you to come and learn the same work one-on-one, and then I can even tie it directly to your human design chart. We can start to look at like, what are the specific blocks that are in the way for you? Because there's every chance that they might be different to me, especially if you're a different human design, quite a different human design configuration from me. But they're the fun things that we can do in there. Now, as always, if there are further questions that you have around anything related to human design or deconditioning through tapping, or the intersection of those two, and you feel like the question is broad enough that you can ask it in a comment and that I could answer it in a video without seeing your human design chart, then you are welcome to ask it in a comment, and I'll see if it's something that I haven't already spoken to on the channel, then I'm happy to look at that. If you want me to dive into your human design chart in a private call and actually tell you more about your chart, then on carolynsouthwell.com, the website, there is a link for coaching, and you'll see all the public coaching options.